Okay, folks, I'm back here with you. As you can see, I'm got a cam and everything else like that or whatever. And what happened was that about a month and a half ago, I had a muskie on the line where I put, the camcorder. What I do is that every time I fish and I throw my pole out, what I have is I have my camcorder around my belt buckle. And so, every time I get a bite, what I do is I hold the pole in one hand and have to reach down and grab up the cam on the other hand, where I'm going like this, and like this that you guys have seen over like the last year. But anyway, I was out at the power plant. I got a huge muskie and on the line, and it kept going back and forth like this, where apparently it worked itself loose. My camcorder did this and then hit the ground and then broke the logic board and whatever. I've been pretty busy and everything else like that or whatever, and that, over the last couple months. So anyway, as you can see, I'm back on more fishing videos from here on out. However, I am moving to Arizona, Phoenix, and that, so I figured I'd share with you guys some, a three-part series here now, a couple things that really work well with me, that always have proven themselves to really, bring in the big ones and everything else like that. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is, fishing areas. My favorite fishing areas are around the Warren Youngstown area that have really worked well. Where they're at, what to use, and everything else like that. So in the winter time, as far as that goes, I don't know why people actually go out on ice on a lake, let's say Mosquito Lake or Lake Milton. All it takes is just one snap, crackle, pop, you swim, which I don't understand why they do that. And plus, folks, I don't like being cold. You're not going to see my silly self out there now freezing myself into like 15 pieces and everything else like that. So where do I like to go? I mean, unfortunately, winter, we have to take whatever we can get on our poles, whether they be bluegill or whatever. But I like to go down to the Mosquito Lake Spillway, which runs right behind my apartment complex building here, and as I've been living in Timber Creek Apartments here in Niles. Anyway, just take a worm, small little hook, throw it out there, and I caught really giant perch, jumbo-sized perch, and your odds and ends, anything else. And so what I've done is that through the month of, let's say, January to mid-March, that's what I've been using. I mean, that really worked well for me, not just throwing a hook and, worms out there. By about mid-March, there is a pond in the northwest side of Warren that will unfreeze. It's called Burbank Pond. If you guys don't know where that is, what you do is you go through downtown Warren, go north up Mahoning Avenue. When you reach Jamestown Village Plaza, which is where that traffic light is, make a left going over the bridge, then make the first right after the bridge. Follow the road, it'll hook around, and then you'll see the sign that says Burbank Pond, or Burbank Park, that is. You can't go wrong. What you want to do there is use a treble hook, a size 4 treble hook. I like Eagle Claw. Walmart has them on sale all the time. Use corn. You will not be able to keep your pole down between mid-March to, mid-May. You'll catch carp anywhere between 25 to 30 inches in that pond, left and right, and on occasion 16-8 inches too. But that's what you want to do. Then by mid-May, end of May, you want to go down to the power plant. You guys have seen the power plant videos and everything else like that or whatever. That's the #1 spot to go to and everything like that. So if some of you in that, well, I got a few emails where some people asked me where it's at. For all you people that don't know where the power plant is and that, what you do is, again, downtown Warren, go north on Mahoning Avenue for about maybe 3/4 of a mile. It's at the intersection of Summit Street and Mahoning Avenue, and you'll see like a bar that sits right there and a parking lot. It's basically where that Veterans Walkway is. Now right there, there's 2 different spots you can fish at. One of them is, and people have asked me before how I'm getting down there, is where have I been catching these muskies at? So I'll let you guys know. What I do is I park, by the way, if any time you guys see a little blue geoprism, that's me. I park in the parking lot right there where that bar is. And what you do is that at that bar there is a patio which is right next to it. You aim for the patio, and at the top where the tree line is right there, now you'll see a like a path that goes straight down the hill. Now it's pretty steep going down, and it's pretty steep going back up too. So what you do is you got to go down the path or go down the hill, and you'll see like these rocks. Just I go down it with just wherever the rocks are, put your feet at, you're okay. And then you go down, make a left, you walk about maybe 100 feet, and then you got to rappel down about 7 feet right there. And then, rock and roll. That's known as the Breakwall side, where you're actually facing the abandoned power plant, as far as that goes. Now on that side, I've noticed on the breakwall side that I'm just telling you about, that's where I got all of my muskies at, my walleye, and on also bass too, huge ones, small and largemouth, and suckers too. That's pretty much like the game sport side, the game fish side, and everything else. Now, there is the other side, which is where the tree is. I called that the shoreline. What I do is I'll still park at the bar, but you'll walk across the bridge and then go down and underneath the bridge. What you do is you go across the bridge, and there's that Summit Street News right there. Cross the street, go over the guardrail right there, and you can walk underneath the bridge as you follow the hill down. What you'll get right there are just fantastically huge carp and catfish, you know, pretty much like bottom feeders, and occasional walleyes too as well. But I go over on that side, which is a little bit farther extra walk, if I want to catch like, you know, like huge carp, catfish, and everything else like that. But anyway, on that side for the shoreline that I'm just telling you about, which is the far side, just use worms. You can even get the walleye on worms and everything, the huge cats and carps. But going back to the breakwall side where the bar is, I'm going to go over a couple things here now for lures for you guys that have been proven to work. I keep a spreadsheet. I mean, I keep a little note of what lures have worked and what, you know, which ones haven't. First of all, when it comes to the power plant, you don't want to go down there between the hours of 12 noon to 5. Trust me, folks, it isn't worth it. Nothing's going to bite. If you do, you got lucky, but I guarantee you won't get a muskie. You won't get anything huge down there. It'll just be bluegills and God knows whatever else small. But anyway, for the power plant, what you want to use down there on the breakwall side, for the muskies, I recommend what's known as the Rapala X-Wrap. It's called Rapala X-Wrap. You can get them at Gander Mountain, you know, at the Eastwood Mall, and that which is by Super Kmart and everything else like that. Or whatever. What you want to use is it's called olive green. It's about like this size. It's Rapala XRS08G, and yeah, I'm looking at it on my computer screen for you. Olive green, and it's a ½ ounce, and it has a white tail. That has caught almost all my muskies down there at the power plant. Another one, which is also really going to work for you, as far as catching muskies and that, is the smaller version of it, Rapala X-Wrap, which is about like this big. It's really small. And that one there produced the largest muskie that I caught down there, in that, which is that default picture you guys seen earlier. In that, all I did is I just threw it in, and then he grabbed it, which I'll get to later on where to cast. And then lastly, I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of rattle traps. If you use a 3/4 or a 1 ounce huge rattle trap, like about like this, if it's white in color or bright in color, it will pound a muskie. You will get a muskie. It's just a matter of time. You want to keep throwing it out there. It will happen. It's just a matter of time. Now, where you want to cast that down there at the power plant for the muskies and everything, like say, here's the falls, here's the breakwall. If you cast it right in that little hole and walk it down, some of you people that have said you'd see me before down there and that, just, you know, cast it into here, walking it down or whatever. There is always at least a muskie or two sitting in that little pocket. Again, here's the falls, here's the water, right in this corner right here. And then if you're going to cast straight out, what I do is always make sure, folks, that you cast within 10 feet or less to the falls. Keep throwing it out there. The reason behind that is because you will get a lot of snags. If you go is even more than a foot more to the left, you'll snag out and you'll lose your lure guaranteed. Now, I have a buddy of mine in that he uses 80-pound test line where he's able to get his snags out, but still, you don't want to do that. It's not worth the hassle. And the other lures that I use down there, diamond chads, really pound the walleye down there amazingly. And then the other thing I use is the regular rattle trap. About a ½ ounce rattle trap like this, it's known as Diamond Dust. And the book that you can order online, it's known as RT53 Diamond Dust. Guarantee you'll get a walleye down there within your second cast, or maybe even first. I've seen it happen before. But anyway, that's the those are the three main spots that I go to during the year, and then what I use. Now, towards the fall time, what I will do is I'll go night fishing out at the Causeway. We all know Mosquito Lake Route 88, but there is one spot that you're guaranteed to catch huge catfish and carp and everything else like that over all night long. First of all, when you guys go to the the Causeway and everything like that, or whatever on Route 88, You got to get there between 2 and 5 or maybe 1 and 4 in the morning. Anything else before that, they don't really bite as much. And you always want to be facing the south side, which is facing towards Warren. The north side, only once have I ever caught anything. It seems to be on the north side of Mosquito Lake on that causeway for night fishing. Everybody and their brother always fishes it out. And they, I don't know, with their crappies or their bobbers or whatever. I'm going to tell you what, if I go night fishing and I'm driving out there, I'm at least going to get something at least 30 inches long. So again, face the south. The best spot that I'd seen is, say, you know, when you pull in on the south side, go up. There are 3 walkways that you go up going towards Mecca. If you count 7 blocks, 7 concrete barrier blocks after the last walkway, you know, the little railing that you guys see, that is the spot to go for night fishing. Guaranteed. That is, you'll get like 30-inch catfish, giant carp, walleye, I mean everything. Try it. And I only use worms. You can't go wrong there. All of the videos that I have on my YouTube channel are from that spot. So again, say if like you're pulling in the south side, go up, you pass 3, you know, on the third little railing where you walk down, count again 7 blocks. So when you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, stop. Right there, take it, and then put your lines out and everything else like that where it can't go wrong. So again, these are kind of the, I mean, these are my favorite spots and then what I use. Since I'm moving to Arizona, I might as well share this with you guys and everything else. Other spots that people have asked me about, like Leavittsburg, Canoe City. My best luck that I had at Canoe City out there was that when you pull in, how can I explain it? Like you go into Canoe City in Leavittsburg, you pull in. If you're facing where the boats, where the canoes come off at and everything like that, from where the canoes go off to the edge of the first parking lot there, which is on the north side, if you go to the third block that is, which is a clearing between 2 trees, I have been able to pull in pretty consistent giant carp and catfish through there, but there's still a lot of snags. The only other spot to mention about at Canoe City is that the spillway down there, it's not really that great. It's kind of smaller than the power plant. I mean, I had a few hits down there and caught a few things, but folks, let's be honest. There is a wall right there, and it's like 10 feet down at the Canoe City, you know, power plant, or what is it that is, that there's spillway. How are you going to be able to land a muskie? I don't know. Why people still fish there? I don't know. You're going to have to go and, you know, bring up your fish. But so those are my thoughts on that. So go to the main spot right there at Canoe City, between the little building right here and then where they land or they set off the canoes, 3 spaces over, parking spaces over between the trees. If you really want to do it, it's okay. The other thing is that I want to mention about is like Packard Park Pond. I saw some massive carp in there. Not a lot of them, but 3-foot long carp in there. I'm not kidding you folks. I didn't believe it either until I saw it, and I was like, good God. But anyway, but Packard Park and the Mahoney River spots at Packard Park, it's not worth it. Snags, it's really not worth it. I mean, I've pulled out a few decent-sized golden red horse suckers that I'm sure some of you guys know what they are, but it's not worth it as far as that goes. Then moving on to the Braceville Bridge, and that I call it Braceville Bridge. A buddy of mine, we kind of slang term it like that. But when you go on Route 5, and then there's that road that leads into Braceville right there. There's a little bridge where those baseball fields are at. You'll catch like some like 17-inch like channel cats and some you know, walleye about 16, 17 inches. It's good if you're bored, if you kind of get burned out of the power plant or whatever. But I don't know. And then lastly, a couple other things is that Newton Falls, the spillways. The first spillway, which is by the McDonald's right there, you can catch some pretty decent-sized carp in there. And I remember the first time that I went out there, a buddy of mine talked me into it, and I was like, yeah, that place isn't even big enough to support a bluegill. It's so small. I pulled in a 26-inch carp right there within 10 minutes, and then I pulled another carp in. I don't know, it looked like a little smaller, but we lost it at shore. But that place right there would be perfect for children's fishing if you guys have kids out there. Guaranteed, if you go where the falls are, when you walk down those steps, you go like this, bluegill, suckers, little bass, I mean. But, and then the other spillway, which is a little bit farther down in Newton Falls, at the top, I've gotten some huge hits, but there's too many snags. And then on the bottom of it, where people like to park, and I don't know what they see in that, because I still have yet to get anything decent out of there. And then another favorite spot of mine, which I confess I really haven't gone to very much this year, is Lake Milton, the gazebo. If you guys know where the the Causeway is on 18 right there, there's a little gazebo that goes out in the water. Holy Christmas! I've had some giant carp and giant catfish and everything else that are. There was one time, I know it's YouTube, stretching the truth or whatever, folks, but I actually lost a carp there last year, last October, that had a tail as wide as the length of my boot. And I lost at shoreline before my line snapped, and I used 25-pound test line. But anyway, the reason why I haven't been there and you guys haven't seen any videos of it is because the power plant, downtown Warren, it's only a 4.5-mile drive, and that spoils me instead of 18 miles to Lake Milton. But that's another place in that you really kind of want to get into and everything else like that. So anyway, well, this is the end of part 1 here and everything else like that or whatever, so I'll be back for part 2.